Okay, no big introduction today of me, thank God. I'm sure people are sick of it. But it's good to be here. I'm honored to be able to chair the Legislative Action Committee. Um, I think we'll get right into it. It's just another tough day in our country. Gotta send out our thoughts and prayers to Uvalde, Texas, and those families on that tragedy that happened yesterday. Hopefully they can find some peace in it. So with that, I'd like to turn it back over to Anthony actually, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Middle Tree. Middle Tree is a nonprofit education center unlike any other ever created. They were designed as a public mission, fix the way education is done. They give students a personalized educational path that allows them all the time they need to work while making sure they can afford it. Thank you, Middle Tree, for sponsoring this meeting. As a reminder, there's a little chat button on the bottom. Feel free to send in any questions that you may have. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Anthony for announcements.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Just a few announcements today. First and foremost, our Twilight celebration is tomorrow. It is right after our golf tournament. There are just a few seats left, so if you have not gotten your seats yet, please contact me after the meeting and I will get you all sorted and registered. We have a great live auction tomorrow as well as a silent auction. And some of the prizes include a $500 gift card to Pachanga, $100 gallons of gas, a Savage Stevens 320 field grade pump shotgun with ammunition, a 65-inch 4K UHD TV, MetaQuest 2 advanced all-in-one virtual reality headset, Ray-Ban sunglasses, and veteran-made flag metal art, which is on a handmade wooden frame. So if you do not have your opportunity tickets, please buy them. You do not have to be present to win. So I will go ahead and put the information on that in the chat as soon as I am done. Also, we have the Memorial Mile March on this Saturday. Registration and check-in starts at 8 a.m. here at the Chamber. It is in partnership with the Corona Chamber Foundation. It is free to attend, so come pick up your flag in the morning and walk in honor of our military. So go to givebigcorona.com to learn more. Also, next week, in lieu of our business briefing, since we do have our Sacramento Summit, we will be hosting a webinar at 10 a.m. with Rick Luwag on the employee retention credit. This starts again at 10 a.m. And he will be introducing the CARES Act and more specifically the ERC itself and cover who is qualified and how to apply. So this can be up to $26,000 per employee. So register now. It's going to be loaded with great information. Also, I am pleased to announce on our next Coffee with an Entrepreneur on June 13th will be Lena Thomas. She is the president of Corona Hardwood, and she has such an amazing, inspiring story. She is an immigrant, and she moved here to this country, and she started this amazing business that is local, and we are so proud to have her in our community. So we hope to see you all there. And with that, it is back to you, Jeff.
Okay, I am off mute. Thank you, Anthony. Good job. And I'd like to, before I get into Jeff, I think I'll just throw it over to Brad from our Assembly Member's Office, Sabrina Cervantes. Brad, is there anything you have that on your plate?
Yeah, so as some of you might know, we are in the middle of floor session right now in the Assembly. Bills have got to get out of their house of origin here pretty quick or they're going to die on the vine here. We had one bill that was passed in the Assembly that I wanted to highlight real quick. This actually came from the Assembly Member Cervantes and also the JETI committee that she chairs, JETI standing for Jobs, Economic Development, and the Economy Committee. This bill is AB 2974. And what it does, it's related to the Federal Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act that was passed and signed into law by President Biden at the end of last year. And what it does is that it requires each state agency, in order to encourage small business participation in new state contracts that are funded by that act, over $250,000 for construction, alteration, demolition, repair of improvement of the state's infrastructures. To basically every agency has to hit a 25% goal of, a 25% small business participation goal in all contracts funded by these federal funds. And from my calculations, California is expected to receive about $45 billion from this federal act. So we're excited that hopefully, at least 25% of those funds will be going to contracts with small businesses if it passes the state Senate. So that was one we're really proud of, and we'll be working hard to get it passed in the other chamber.
That's great. Thank you, Brad.
Mhm.
Appreciate that. Like to thank Peppermint Ridge for jumping on the call again. Jim and Danny, I don't know if Danny, yeah, there you guys are. Thanks for coming on the call. We like to promote our nonprofits in town that are doing just great work for our community and partner with the business community on many things. Feel free to put your contact information in the chat for Peppermint Ridge if somebody wants to get involved, help, or donate. They'll have your contact information. I also wanted to thank Andrew Wilson for coming on the call from the Ontario Reign. Soft spot in my heart. Hockey's been my sport for 50 years, 55 years maybe. And I just throw it out. Andrew, what's going on with the Reign? They didn't make it through the first round, but they had a pretty good season.
Yeah, we had a pretty red hot season kind of after COVID and everything. So we made it to the second round of playoffs. Unfortunately, didn't make it past there, but we're in a renewal period right now. Anyone interested in season tickets are coming out for next year. I myself work within sponsorships, so anyone looking to advertise to our fans, definitely feel free to contact me. I'll go ahead and put my contact information in the chat as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Andrew. With that, we're doing really well on time. If anybody has anything urgent they want to promote for 10, 15 seconds, that's fine. Just raise your hand and I'll call on you. With that, I'll get right into the meat of the matter and introduce Jeff Gibson. Jeff Gibson's our political consultant. And for 35 years, Jeff has worked in areas of political consulting, government affairs, government relations. He has specialized in areas of the environment and transportation and housing and energy. And with that, I'd like to introduce Jeff Gibson for an update on his end.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that. Wanted to bring everybody up to speed on the May revised budget. The governor by law has to issue his first draft or his December outlook before the beginning of each year. And then in January, he releases the first draft of the budget that he believes is going to be necessary for the upcoming fiscal year. And then in May, it's called the May Revise is released with new revenue figures and other key information, and that basically forms the framework for the negotiations with the legislature. So the May revised budget came in at $227 billion. That's down about 9% from last year, which had the numbers were inflated because of federal COVID funding, national COVID funding that had come in, that we're all now paying for in inflation. So we are now, so you're looking at $227 billion. There's a substantial reserve. There's substantial increases along with areas that are going to be cut as well. K-14 education spending is going to be at around $145 billion, which is a very healthy increase. and what would be considered Prop 98 protected spending, it it cuts by about $1 billion down to 82.3. So when you think about California schools, next year into California public schools, there will be 210,000 fewer students, but the overall funding is going to go up. So you're going to have more resources with fewer students. 210,000, for instance, it would be a top 10 size school district in the state of California. So it's a fairly substantial decrease in the amount of kids that are being served, but a very large commitment. When the former assemblyman was in the legislature, which was not so very long ago, 145 billion would have been well more than the entire size of the budget. So it's a very, very large, significant commitment that we have to public education in the state of California. And then going through the rest of the budget itself, there are pretty much across the board cuts, but a very large increase in health and human services. Medi-Cal becomes basically one of the top budget lines this year, and we're going to be spending just over $1 billion on projects that would be considered transportation infrastructure, roads, bridges, highways, etc. That would be in the what is known as the state transportation plan. So you can see we're spending 227 billion, and 1.2 billion of that is going to go towards road projects, which is actually much smaller than the overall request from the Riverside County Transportation Commission, just for Riverside County. So you're going to have the state, every county in the state competing over that. So with that, I'd like to get into the meetings that we're going to have in Sacramento. We have multiple legislators that have been invited to our arrival and welcome dinner, which is at Frank Fat's, one of the most historic restaurants in Sacramento, on the evening of Tuesday, May 31st. Then we will have our legislative breakfast at the Hyatt, in which we will be going over a number of budget trends, just as we discussed here, but with the people that are writing the budget themselves. And then we're going to be spending the day in the Cal Chamber Business Summit and lunch, where we are going to be hearing from legislative experts on the budget, transportation, energy, and other key areas. In our meeting, which is exclusive to Corona, and we are one of the only area chambers that runs meetings like this, we will be hearing from the League of Cities. We will be hearing from the Riverside County Transportation Commission. We'll be on how they're going to increase the amount of funding that's available to fix our roads and bridges. And then we will be hearing from experts in energy and other areas. Then we go to an international reception where all 193 nations that have missions at San Francisco. One of the things that gets overlooked a lot in the state, and the reason why there is a Sacramento, it's called the Sacramento Host Breakfast, is no place in the world outside of New York plays host to every nation in the world. The UN, as we know, was founded in San Francisco, and there are over 193 nation missions in San Francisco and Los Angeles. And every year we have an open invitation from the governor to come to Sacramento to hear him speak. And so the governor's speech that we will be hearing on June 2nd is considered one of his top 3 speeches of the year. Very often, the governor issues his legislative, basically it's a combined policy speech, but it also is much more practical. Governor Brown announced that he was going to be allowing for drilling in the state of California for oil. he announced his plan for balancing the budget at the Sacramento Host Breakfast. Governor Newsom has announced a number of different key committee appointments and different policy items at his speeches. And so it really is a historic speech to come and see. And we are going to be ringside as we always are. So happy to answer any questions. As Brad from Assemblymember Cervantes' office talked about, they're under, the legislature currently is under, it's known as House of Origin, which means that if you are an assembly member, as Ms. Cervantes is, then she has to have all of her bills out of the assembly by the end of the week. And so that's a very firm deadline. Otherwise, they need to get amended. Those bills need to get amended into other bills. So it's an important deadline that everybody's working on. So there's a lot of floor voting in the next couple of days. But happy to discuss anything that anyone would have.
Thank you, Jeff. Anthony, any questions come in for Jeff?
There are no questions in the chat.
You stunned us into silence again, Jeff.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Does anybody have any, we're a little ahead of schedule. Does anybody have anything they want to announce or promote? Feel free to jump on the call. I want to thank Tim Gramling for coming on. Tim's a board member of the chamber, and he's the dean of the Cal Baptist Business School, Cal Baptist University Business School. And thank you, Tim, for coming on. And Linda Pearson represents the Corona Regional Medical Center, and I usually go to her and see if there's any updates on COVID or whatever is going on with the CRMC.
So Jeff, I
feel free to
would
jump
like to kind of update you on COVID because it's not good news. And we're seeing a spike in community acquired COVID. And it's not only affecting patients coming in, but it's our staff as well. So we've got a holiday weekend coming, and I just really encourage people to be safe and be careful because numbers are on the rise and the county numbers are showing that as well. So it is hitting our community.
Thanks. Thank you, Linda, for that update. With that, if there really isn't anything else, I'd like to give you Sabrina, our Assembly Member Sabrina Cervantes's contact information and Senator Richard Roth's contact information. If you have any questions and need to contact them, feel free. There's their phone numbers and email addresses. And in ending the call, I just want to thank again today's sponsor, which is Middle Tree. They base their approach around students' individual needs and personalities, making sure they work on their students' terms, not theirs. Learn more at middletree.org, just like it sounds. We will be dark next week because of the Sacramento trip. So we will resume again in 2 weeks on June 8th. And we'll continue to bring critical updates to you all. And meeting is adjourned. Thank you for attending.